On March 16, 1984, at Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport in Louisiana, an ordinary day turned into one of the most shocking moments ever captured on live television. Gary Plauché, a 38-year-old father, stood waiting, not for a flight, but for vengeance. What happened next would divide public opinion, spark national debates about justice, and leave an indelible mark on American history. It all began more than a month earlier, on February 19, 1984. That morning, Jeff Doucet, a trusted karate instructor and family friend, picked up 11-year-old Jody Plauché under the pretense of a quick ride around town. But this wasn't just another lesson. By nightfall, Doucet and Jody were hundreds of miles away, heading west toward California. Along the way, Doucet shaved his beard and dyed Jody's hair black to disguise them both, ensuring they wouldn't be recognized by authorities who were already searching for them. Their destination? A cheap motel near Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Inside that room, Doucet's true intentions became horrifyingly clear. Over several days, he sexually assaulted Jody repeatedly. Desperate to escape, Jody managed to convince Doucet to let him call home. Unbeknownst to Doucet, police traced the call, stormed the motel, and arrested him while Jody was safely placed on a flight back to Louisiana. But Gary Plauché's relief at having his son returned was short-lived. When Mike Barnett, a close friend and Baton Rouge Sheriff's Major, broke the news of what Doucet had done to Jody, Gary reacted like any parent might, consumed by rage and helplessness. "I'll kill that SOB," he told Barnett. And unlike most threats made in anger, Gary meant every word. Over the following weeks, Gary spent countless hours inside the Cotton Club, a local bar where he obsessively asked patrons when Doucet would return to Baton Rouge for trial. On March 15th, a former colleague from WBRZ News tipped him off. Doucet would arrive the next day via American Airlines Flight 595. The next morning, Gary drove to the airport wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, blending into the crowd as if he were just another traveler. He stationed himself near a payphone, pretending to make a call as a WBRZ news crew prepared to film Doucet's arrival. Moments later, the caravan of cops escorting Doucet appeared. As they passed, Gary reached into his boot, pulled out a .357 Magnum revolver, and fired a single shot straight into Doucet's head. The entire scene unfolded live on camera. Millions watched as Doucet collapsed to the ground, blood pooling around him, while Mike Barnett tackled Gary against the wall. "Why, Gary, why'd you do it?" Barnett shouted. Through tears, Gary replied, "If somebody did it to your kid, you'd do it too." Gary's actions sparked immediate controversy. Was he a cold-blooded killer or a grieving father pushed to his breaking point? Locals overwhelmingly sided with Gary. From strangers on the street to regulars at the Cotton Club, everyone seemed to agree. Doucet got what he deserved. Gary's defense attorney, Foxy Sanders, argued that his client had been driven into a psychotic state by the trauma of his son's kidnapping and assault. Sanders also highlighted how meticulously Doucet had groomed Jody over the years, painting a picture of calculated predation that no parent could endure without snapping. Despite the legal complexities, the court ultimately agreed with the public sentiment. Instead of prison, Gary received 5 years probation and 300 hours of community service. A sentence so lenient, it underscored just how deeply people sympathized with his plight. In the years that followed, Gary faded back into obscurity, living quietly until his death in 2014. His obituary described him as a man who saw beauty in everything, a loyal friend, and to many, a hero. Meanwhile, Jody Plauché channeled his pain into purpose. He wrote a book titled Why, Gary, Why?, sharing his story to help other families protect their children from predators. Today, Jody enjoys cooking and often shares his passion online. But even now, reminders of that fateful day linger. "I'll post a cooking video on YouTube," he once said, and someone will comment, "Your dad's a hero." They won't say, "That gumbo looks great." Gary Plauché's act of vigilante justice remains polarizing. But one thing is certain. His decision to pull the trigger on live television ensured that the world would never forget the lengths a parent might go to shield their child from harm.